Take 472. Let's talk about dilution. Let's talk about dilution. Let's talk about dilution. In this video, I'm going to debunk some myths around using undiluted oils with actual facts. But then I'm going to show you the 6 benefits to always diluting and 5 different ways that you can dilute your essential oils. But before we jump in, if you're new here, be sure to hit subscribe and that little bell to get a new weekly video on essential oils and emotions, as well as boss lady habits and mindset. Hey, boss lady. My name is Tara Wagner. I am your breakthrough coach, and usually I am doing a weekly video on essential oils and emotions. However, I can't tell you how to use oils for emotions without also telling you how to use them safely and effectively, which is what we're going to do in this video. We're going to talk about debunking some myths and whether or not you can use oils undiluted. We're going to talk about ways to dilute. We're going to talk about the benefits of dilution. But make sure that you stay tuned to the very end, because I am going to have a very special guide for you on dilution rates to help you to use your oils really well. But if you are also interested in learning how to use them for emotions, make sure to check out my video on essential oils and emotions. I will link it up above as well as down in the description below. But for now, let's jump into dilution. The first thing that I want to talk about is whether or not you can use your oils undiluted. There is a lot of information out there that says you can and that says you can't, and there's a lot of fear-based information out there as well. Now, my rule of thumb is if anybody is using extreme language, I tend to shy away from it. I find with most things, the truth often lies in the middle. I also find a lot of the information out there is very clickbaity in nature. And so what I want to do to answer this question for you is turn to an actual expert. This book is called The Healing Intelligence of Essential Oils. It is The Science of Advanced Aromatherapy. It's by Kurt Schnabelt, PhD, if I'm saying his last name right, and I may not be. And I want you to understand who this is. So Kurt Schnabelt holds a PhD in chemistry and is the founder and scientific director of the Pacific Institute of Aromatherapy in San Francisco. Now listen, y'all, if you are talking to a blogger about whether or not you should dilute or undilute, or even an aromatherapist, why not turn to somebody who has a PhD in chemistry and actually teaches aromatherapists what to do? I'm going to read a little bit of an excerpt from this book so that you understand the value of undiluting and when you should or should not use your oils undiluted. But I do want to say really quickly that every aromatherapist learns how to use oils undiluted. Most of the advice that is out there on not diluting your oils has to do with whether or not people believe that you are smart enough to learn how to do this properly, which I personally think that you are. So my goal with this video is to allow you to feel educated so that you can make the best choice for you, for your body, for your family. So I'm going to read a few excerpts from this book. If you also have this book, you can follow along by turning it to page 127. As with the application of undiluted essential oils in the shower, essential oils need to be tested for irritation before dabbing or rubbing them on. The gradual exploration of the actual interaction of our own skin type and condition with essential oils will create the confidence to use them when we really need to. A significant benefit from using undiluted essential oils, which escapes scientific experiments, is the visceral and physiological experience we accumulate whenever we use oils in this fashion. Of course, only authentic essential oils can be used undiluted without annoying irritation. It then goes on to explain dabbing of an oil, which is done with a Q-tip or putting a little bit on your finger to dab it on any areas of concern. He's even talking about dabbing them inside your mouth. What? I know, it's scandalous. Then he goes on to talk about something called a massive rub. Now get this. French-style aromatherapy suggests the topical application of substantial amounts of essential oils. The intent is to keep the concentration of oils as high as possible in the body, especially the bloodstream. In here, he is talking about 40 to 50 drops rubbed on the torso per session, 4 to 5 times per day. Homie, say what? The book then lists a whole handful of oils that are suitable for undiluted use. And what you'll notice is that most of them are very mild. They tend to be florals. There is peppermint in here, which I personally don't use undiluted, but it's nice to see that yes, you can, in a pinch, use this undiluted. He also says higher doses of essential oils should only be utilized after you've gradually built the necessary experience with such doses, enabling you to know which essential oils can be tolerated in this fashion. So yes, essential oils can be used undiluted, but that doesn't mean that they should always be used undiluted. Stick with those mild oils, start low and slow so that you can see how your body's going to respond to the oil, and never ever undilute the really hot spicy oils. Oregano, cinnamon, clove, cassia. These ones are going to be pretty uncomfortable on the skin, and those are important to dilute. But if you're in a pinch and you've got something like lavender or melaleuca or lemon and you want to use it but you don't have any carrier oil, or maybe you got a t-shirt that you don't want to get your carrier oil on, in a pinch you can use that oil undiluted. My rule of thumb for this is if you're only doing it every once in a while, if you're only doing a small amount, or if you know that you do not have sensitive skin, this might be a suitable time to use your oils undiluted. Now that being said, there are a lot of benefits to dilution, and I want to go through those with you right now because in most cases, you're going to dilute your oils. There are 6 benefits to dilution that we're going to go through one by one. The first benefit of dilution is avoiding sensitization. Sensitization can happen both short-term and long-term. So short-term is when you put an oil on and pretty quickly, either within minutes or maybe hours, maybe even a couple days, you start to get some irritation on your skin. Long-term sensitization happens over time. This could be after 10 uses, it could be after 100 uses, it could be after 10 years of using an oil without the proper dilution for your skin. Especially if you have sensitive skin, you may not even respond in a negative way immediately, but you can over time. When you're diluting your oils, you're going to avoid this sensitization. The reason that you want to avoid this is, yes, sensitization doesn't seem like a big deal. It's just some redness, some irritation. It goes away. However, if you have built up a real sensitization to an oil, you're going to have a hard time ever using that oil, even with a very high dilution rate. So dilute from the beginning and avoid this problem. The second benefit to diluting your oils is reducing evaporation. Evaporation happens really easily because these molecules are very small, they're very light, and they do something called flashing, which means they just go away. So when you are diluting your oil, you're reducing evaporation and increasing absorption in your skin, which leads me to benefit number 3, increasing absorption. When you're diluting these oils, the heavy carrier oil is going to ensure that it stays on your skin and slowly absorbs. This makes it almost time-released even, which allows it to be getting into your system slowly over time, which is perfect. That's what we want. We want low and slow. We don't want all the oils all at once. We want them staying in our bloodstream for as long as possible. Benefit number 4 is that it moisturizes your skin. Some oils have a very drying effect. This can be great when you're trying to deal with something like oily skin, but in most cases, especially for us ladies who are getting a little bit older, we don't need to dry out our skin at all. So diluting your oils will allow you to moisturize your skin and get all these other benefits at the same time. Benefit number 5 is that it allows you to spread a small amount of essential oil over a large area. Essential oils are potent, and you don't need 5 or 6 drops on a sore back. But if you're trying to add just oil, it's going to feel like you need that much because you can't spread 1 or 2 drops very well. So mixing your essential oils in with a carrier is going to allow you to really stretch your oils and get the entire area that you need to be getting. And then along those same lines is benefit number 6, which is allowing you to stretch your oils. Again, they're potent. You don't need a lot. And so creating something like a roller blend will allow you to get a fraction of a drop when you don't need a full drop. This is going to allow you to stretch your oils out, make them last, and get the most bang for your buck. Did I miss any benefits of dilution? Go ahead and leave a comment below and let me know. Now let's talk about the 5 ways that you can dilute essential oils and when you would use each option. Option number 1 is a carrier oil. This is the most popular option. You can use something like jojoba, fractionated coconut oil, sweet almond oil. There's a lot of options. And to be quite honest with you, in a pinch, you can use any type of oil to dilute an essential oil, even like cooking oil from the kitchen. You might smell like a salad, but it works just fine when you need it. You do, however, want to make sure that your carrier oil does not solidify. Some of them do, such as a raw coconut oil. The reason for that is if you're putting it in a roller bottle, you don't want it to solidify in that roller bottle. My personal favorite when it comes to carrier oils is fractionated coconut oil. I love the benefits of coconut oil, but obviously not the solidification piece of it. I really like this because number one, it's odorless, so I'm going to smell the oils and not the carrier. It's also very lightweight. It absorbs very easily, and so it's not going to feel greasy all day. You're not going to be getting it on your clothes all day. Coconut oil is also full of nutrients and antioxidants for the skin. It's very good for the skin, but it doesn't clog your pores. So this is one of my favorites. I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it out already. So option one is to use a carrier oil. Option two is to use an oil-based cream. You want to make sure that this is not a water-based lotion, one of the thinner lotions. doTERRA has a really great creamy lotion that you can use this for. They also have things like moisturizers that already have some oils in it, like facial moisturizers and night creams. You could use your own night cream as well, but you will want to test it out, start small, see how it goes. I would not do a lotion or a cream with any of the really hot or sensitive oils, but your florals, your trees, things that are more mild, those are definitely suitable to use with it. The other thing that doTERRA offers is some of their oils already mixed into a lotion. So they have the Deep Blue Rub. This is the one that you would use for like muscles and joints. And they have Rose Lotion. And by the way, this is a $20 lotion and 100% of that goes to their Healing Hands Foundation. So it's really going to pay it forward to a variety of different organizations and charities. When you're mixing up your own lotions, you're gonna do anywhere from 1 to 10 drops of essential oil in about an ounce of that lotion. So give it a try, test it out, start small, right? Low and slow, and you can always increase it as you go. Your third option for diluting essential oils are alcohol bases. This could be witch hazel. Maybe you're gonna use this on your face. It might also be vodka or rubbing alcohol, which you're probably not going to use on your body, but you could use for homemade cleaners or room sprays. The fourth option for diluting your oils is vinegar, preferably apple cider vinegar if you're going to be using this on your face. This is really great for balancing the pH in your skin. It's also great for cleaning your skin. It's really good for soothing sunburns. It even helps reduce age spots. So if you're doing something like frankincense in there, that's going to be amazing. The way you're going to do this is about 10 to 20 drops per ounce of whatever you're making, depending on the oil and depending on how you're going to be using it. And the fifth and final way that you can dilute your essential oils is with Epsom salt. Now, this is not going to be suitable for those very hot oils, but this is great for your florals, for your tree oils. And obviously we're using this Epsom salt generally in the bath. Epsom salt contains magnesium, which if you did not know, also helps to relax muscles. It is an amazing antidepressant itself, and it's going to help you to get some really good sleep. So it's great for stress and relaxation. Mixing it with the Epsom salt is going to help it to disperse through the bath, but it's not necessarily going to protect your skin in the same way that a carrier oil will. So if you're doing this, you definitely want to make sure that you're avoiding your mints, your spices, any of those potentially hot or irritating oils in the tub. Some people will recommend that you actually dilute the essential oil with a carrier oil before you put it in the tub, but according to Mr. PhD, that is not the best idea because you're actually going to be minimizing the absorption when you're in the tub. What he actually recommends is that after you take a bath, get out, pat dry, don't rub down, and then apply a carrier oil after that to reduce any potential irritation. But as we know, if you're not doing this on a consistent basis and you're doing this in the right way, the likelihood of irritation is very small. So when you're mixing this up for yourself, go ahead and do about 4 to 5 drops of an essential oil to every cup of Epsom salt that you're using. Give this a try and let me know, and leave a comment below. Is this something that you yourself have used in the tub? What are your favorite essential oils to use in the tub? Okay, so now we've covered the 6 benefits of dilution, the 5 different options you have to dilute. Now I want to go through a few more precautions when it comes to topical use. The first precaution is that it's always a good idea to do a patch test. You never know what your particular skin is going to respond to or how it's going to respond. And so always doing a patch test, especially before you do something on a sensitive area like your face. But I also find sometimes our neck and chest can be just as sensitive. So do a little patch test, make sure you're good to go before you start slathering it all over yourself, okay? I've mentioned this one before, but remember to start low and slow. This means starting with a very low dilution rate, starting with applying it once or twice a day versus, a high dilution rate and you're applying it every 10 minutes. You want to start low and slow to give your body time to adjust to it and to see how your body's going to respond to it. Next, I want you to remember that it's important to mix up your oils. I know that you probably got started with a kit of maybe 8 to 10 oils, and that's great. However, I want you to start finding oils that do similar things. Your body likes diversity, your skin likes diversity, and you want to make sure you're not overdoing any one compound. And you do this by making sure you have similar oils that do similar things. So for instance, if you're using an oil on the back of your neck to help you to fall asleep, over time you might find that that oil is just not working the same for you. So mix it up, find some other oils that also help you to sleep, and change them out from time to time. Make sure you're also being very careful with photosensitive oils. Photosensitive oils are oils that, if applied topically and then you go out in the sun, are going to create some really bad reactions. And I'm talking bad. I've seen people put on oils, put on sunscreen over those oils, and still burn so bad with blisters within 20 to 30 minutes. So this is very important to pay attention to. Most citrus oils are photosensitive. Ginger and cumin are also a little bit photosensitive, but not as much. So make sure you're reading the label, make sure you get a good reference book and you're referencing that so that you're understanding which oils to be careful with and which oils to stick where the sun don't shine. And let me just reiterate the value of actually reading the label, because there will be directions on the labels as to how you should be using these oils. And finally, and you will hear me scream this one from the mountaintops, don't use crap oils. There are a lot of companies out there that are competing on price instead of quality. And so what we're finding in the industry right now is a lot of adulterated or even just completely fake oils. Even though it says 100% pure, doesn't mean that it is. That is an unregulated term. So you really need to be able to know and trust your oil company. I personally love and trust only doTERRA. They are the leaders in the industry. They are the largest essential oil company. They put every single oil through 11 plus tests. They repeat tests at multiple times to make sure that these oils at any point in the production process did not get adulterated or contaminated. And they have really made a name for themselves in terms of purity and quality. So if you are not sure where to get started, start there. All right, so we have talked all about dilution, but at this point you might be wondering about a little something called dilution rates. How much dilution is right for your body or for different ages or for different oils? How many drops should you be using for adults versus kids versus physical uses versus emotional uses? What about milliliters versus ounces versus whatever else? Teaspoons? I don't know. It can feel overwhelming, I know. So what I've done is put together a free PDF that you can download that will walk you through dilution rates with all of these different variables. I want you to feel really confident in using your oils appropriately and safely so that you're getting the benefits without any of the worries. It's called Dilution 101, and you can grab it in the description below, as well as in the link that should have just popped up above my head. All right, we have covered a lot, and my hope is that you can now tell myth from fact from clickbait, and that you can feel really confident in how you are using your oils topically. Now, I would love to hear from you. Of all the ways that you could dilute your oils, what do you use the most, or what are you excited to try out? Leave your tips or any questions in the comment section below. And if you found this video helpful, will you be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the bell for notification of new videos like it, share it with your boss lady and oily friends, and do not forget to download that Dilution 101 freebie. I made it just for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. It could be after 100 uses. Can you see this little fly flying around here? Because those oils are flashing. Seriously? Where is it? It like literally almost flew in my mouth.